So today in trigonometry we are going to discuss about the coordinate concept, right? So how should we get the values of some angle, right? If the angle are very large, right? So you know the angles at 0 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree. But what if we ask you to find the angle at 2 pi by 3, or let's say 15 pi by 3, or let's say 16 pi by 7 by 16 pi by 6, or something like this, right? 33 pi by 4. So how we are going to solve them, right? So we are going to see coordinate concept, right? In trigonometry is how it works, right? So first of all, let's make it like this, right? Now, so here it is a 0 degree, right? It is a 0 degree, and each quadrant, so coordinate is a quadrant concept. You should write it like this way. Quadrant concept, right? So 90 degree. So what it is going to be? 90. And what is 19 radian? So you have to remember it is pi by 2. Okay. Now after, again, this is also 90 degree. So it is going to be pi. Now again this is going to be 2 pi. Sorry, 3 pi by 2. Right. And next, when you add pi by 2 again, it is going to be 2 pi. And again, if I add pi by 2, it is going to be what it is? 5 pi by 2. And again it is going to be 3 pi. Again it is 7 pi by 2. And again it is going to be 4 pi. Again it is 9 pi by 2. It is 5 pi. And it is 11 pi by 2. And it is 6 pi. And so on. It is going on. It's go on, right? Now if I substitute, and so it is when we have considered angle as anti-clockwise, right? So anti-clockwise is the basic way in which angles are measured. Okay, so considering anti-clockwise direction, anti-clockwise direction. If I consider it in clockwise direction, so this will what we get in anti-clockwise direction. If I consider negative direction, so what will happen? It is going to be, so it is 0, but if I come back, it is going to be minus pi by 2, right? Here it is going to be minus pi. Here it is going to be minus 3 pi by 2. Okay, so this is going to be minus 3 pi by 2. And what it will be? It is minus 2 pi, right? So again it is going to be minus 5 pi by 2. Again if I come over here, it is minus 3 pi. It is going to be minus 7 pi by 2. And again it is going to be minus 4 pi, and so on, right? So it is possible in positive and negative as well, depending upon what direction you have taken. So but remember this, you have to always measure an angle in anti-clockwise direction. Negative sign just indicate which direction you have taken, right? So if I generalize them, what I can write it like 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi. It is something like odd even multiple of pi. So this in general can be written as 2 and pi in general, right? So this represents 2 and pi, where n belongs to an integer. N could be an integer which could be positive and negative, right? Similarly for here also, so it can be written as 4n plus minus 1 into pi by 2, where n could be any integer, right? If I put n equals to 1, okay, so or n equals to 0, so it is going to be plus minus 1, so it is going to be not plus, it should be minus, plus 1 only, right? Minus 1, maybe go for it. So 4n plus 1 into pi by 2. If I put n equals to yes, if I put n equals to 0, it is going to be pi by 2. If I put 1, it is 5 pi by 2. If I put 2, it is going to be 9 pi by 2. So this is how we have to do. And for here, it is going to be 2n plus 1 into n pi, because it is an odd multiple, so n belongs to an integer, right? And here you can write it like this way: 4n minus 1 into pi by 2, right? If I put 0, it is going to be this. If I put 1, I am going to get this. If I put 2, I am going to get this. If 3, this, right? So this is how you can do this. So these are the general expression for this, right? Now this is known as first quadrant, this is known as second quadrant, this is known as third quadrant, and this is known as fourth quadrant, right? Now if I consider the triangle method again, so let's say this is a triangle, right? So this is the first quadrant. First quadrant means this is positive and this is positive, both are positive, this and this, okay, you know that. So this you can take as minus x, and this you can take plus x, this you can take plus y, this you can take minus y, right? Now if I take theta over here, and because this and this all are positive, all trigonometric functions are going to be positive in first quadrant, right? Remember this. So all trigonometric functions are positive in first quadrant. Why so? I have explained it. Because if you apply sine theta, it is going to be this upon this, all are positive. Cos theta, all are positive. Tan theta, all are positive. So in first quadrant, and what is the first quadrant? First quadrant is from 2n pi to 4n plus 1 pi by 2. So this is going to be the first quadrant in general. Otherwise you can just remember it like this: 0 to pi by 2, 2 pi by 2, pi by 2 means this kind of. Okay. So this is the first quadrant. First quadrant. All trigonometric function are positive. Remember this. Right? In second quadrant, what will happen? Let's take it like this. So this is going to be your theta, right? So in this scenario, what will happen? This is going to be negative, right? So this and this is only going to be positive, right? Perpendicular and the hypotenuse. So perpendicular, hypotenuse in which trigonometric functions involves perpendicular and hypotenuse? It is sine and cos x. Okay, so only for second quadrant, only sine and cos are positive, and all other are negative, right? So this is how you can think of it, right? So in all 6 trigonometric functions, only sine and cos is going to be positive. Sine and cos is going to be positive, and all other is going to be negative. So this is the second quadrant. Second quadrant means pi by 2 to pi, 5 pi by 2 to 3 pi. This is all. In general, you can write like this: 4n plus 1 into pi by 2 to 2n plus 1 into n pi by 2. So this is how you can write it, right? In third quadrant, what will happen? If you consider it like this, this is going to be theta. So what it is going to be? This one, and this is going to be negative, right? And this one also, right? So here in third quadrant, tan theta and cot theta are positive and all other are negative, right? Why? Because tan theta means sine upon cos, means perpendicular upon base. So this is negative and this is negative, so that is why it is going to be positive, right? So that is why. And in this distance, what about this distance? This distance is always going to be positive, because we are interested in this in the x-axis and y-axis. So this is basically distance, right? So it is a convention basically, left and right. If you are moving left and perpendicular, then this distance is going to be negative. Distance can be measured either horizontally and vertically. So if you are going with an angle, so that distance is basically not considered as a negative, right? So that is why this is always going to be positive. Okay, so this distance is positive, this distance is positive, this distance is positive. Okay, so this is a kind of magnitude. Okay, so that is why this is the distance of this particular point from this basic points, right? That is why it is always considered as a positive. So sine and cos and their reciprocals are going to be negative in third quadrant because of this reason. So tan theta and cot theta are positive, and all other trigonometric functions are negative, and all other trigonometric functions are negative. So this is how you can do this. Now in fourth quadrant you can do this with the same way, right? Like this. This is theta. Now, so here also, but here what we are going to get, this one is positive, means this means base and hypotenuse. This is always going to be positive. Only this is negative. So in fourth quadrant, cos theta and sec theta is positive, and all other trigonometric functions are negative. Okay, so one way of getting this which one is positive, which one is negative, so is this, right? And otherwise I have already told you to draw all six trigonometric graphs on one paper, and you will see that, because you know that angles, what is angle 0 and where it is pi by 2, where it is this. If you see from 0 to pi by 2, all the graphs, all the six trigonometric graphs will lie in positive, means above x-axis. That is why they are going to be positive, right? And for here only sine and cos will have a positive value. In all four trigonometric functions like cot, tan, sec, cos, sec, cot, tan and cos and sec, all are going to be negative. So from graph also you can get it how it is so. Okay, so this is just a simple thing, but most important what I'm just gonna tell you, right? So but you remember which is going to be positive and which is going to be negative. Okay. Next thing is to how to find the angles, right? So so the concept is basically means well understand when you've done some question, right? So let's say I am interested to find the value of sine 15 pi by 4. I want this, right? Sine 15 pi by 4. So by practice you will understand what it is. Direct means giving some kind of formula is not going to help you. So sine 15 pi by 4. So first of all what you have to do is you have to find the nearest value of that particular constant which is in numerator, means 15. Nearest value of 15 which can be greater than or less than, which is exactly divisible by 4. Okay, and it is 16. Now express it like this: sine 16 pi minus 15 minus pi. If I write like this upon 4, right? So 16 pi minus pi by 4. So this is always going to, this is how you have to write. Okay, and now let's make it more easier. It can be like this: sine 11 pi by 4, right? Like this. So in this case you have to write it like this: 12 pi minus 11 pi minus pi, or you just write it like this: 30 pi, right? So it is going to be 12 pi plus pi by 4, or instead of sine let's take it as a cos. Let's take this cos, right? So this is how you have to do. Now separate them. If you separate them, 16 pi by 4 and pi by 4, and sine 16 pi by 4 is 4 will cancel out with it is 4 pi minus pi by 4, and here also it is going to be cos 12 pi by 4 plus pi by 4. So it is going to be cos 3 pi plus pi by 4. Okay, now understand this. So 4 pi minus pi by 4, right? Now go on that particular quadrant concept, right? So here it is 0, here it is pi by 2, here it is pi, and here it is 3 pi by 2, and here it is 2 pi, right? So these two are rarely used. If the questions are directly asked on that particular on the basis of these values, then only they are useful. But in this type of question, generally these questions are asked like find the value of this, and so all the questions are generally based on this x-axis means only, right? So how the questions are related with this I will tell you later. But remember this kind of question generally on depending upon x-axis only, right? So it is 0, it is 2, 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, all goes over here, and pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, all goes over this side, right? So here it is 4 pi, right? So 0, 2 pi. This complete circle includes 2 pi, right? So if I take one circle, it is going to be 2 pi, and another, if I means it is 0. If I move on one time, it is going to be 2 pi. If I take one more revolution, it is going to be 4 pi. So 4 pi will be here, right? So 4 pi, and now means sine have covered an angle of 4 pi. Now it is going back, right? Means I have to subtract it. So subtraction means go back, right? And always if you write any angle like this, okay, so this minus means the part after subtraction or addition is always between 0 to pi by 2. They are in such a way, right, that they always fall means you have to remember this also. This angle should fall between 0 to pi by 2, right? Because behavior changes, all trigonometric functions behavior in the changes in the interval from 0 to pi by 2. That is why this angle should always fall into 0 to pi by 2, right? So always remember that this angle should be in between 0 to pi by 2. Now, so if I subtract pi by 4, so somewhere, because I am here over here and I am subtracting pi by 4, of course this whole thing is pi by 2 and I am subtracting pi by 4, which is less than pi by 2, right? This length. So this value is always going to be lying in fourth quadrant, means till 4 I have first gone till 4 pi and I am subtracting something, some angle, right? And that angle is such that if I subtract them I am going to get in fourth quadrant. This is the fourth quadrant, right? Now see this, if it is 4 pi or 2 pi or 3 pi, it will remain as sine. So you just keep it over here, you just keep it as it is. Now if I subtract pi by 4, so this is means after this it is just remaining as 4 pi by 4. And see this, 4 pi when subtracted by pi by 4, I am coming in fourth quadrant. This one is the fourth quadrant. And what is the sign of sine in fourth quadrant? In fourth quadrant sine is negative, right? So that is why I have to put minus over here, right? So well, once more, now you have come up with this. Now sine 4 pi means you have to take it 0, 2 pi and 4 pi, right? Now I have to subtract something. If you subtract, so remember that you are going to means you can think of it as like this. You will be here. If you subtract it, so you are going to get, and in this quadrant also. If you are here, you are going to subtract something, so you are going to get in this quadrant. If you are here and you are subtracting something, you are going to get this quadrant in this quadrant. If you are adding something, you are going to get in this quadrant. Okay, so the value of this is always going to be between 0 to pi by 2. That is why you are always going to get in, means if you are adding, if you are here, if you are adding something, some angle like this, so you are going to get in first quadrant. If you subtract something, you are going to get in fourth quadrant, right? And in fourth quadrant the sign is always going to be negative, so you have to consider the sign of this one, not this, means okay, so you have to consider the sign of this. So this sign is going to be negative over here. Sometimes what happens is sign goes changes, right? I will tell you how it changes, but till now, so whatever the sign of here means, before changing it, right, you have to see the sign of this. If this sign is going to be negative over here, fourth quadrant, so that is why we are going to put minus here, right? So let's look at this. Okay, so this is how you have to do this. Now this question, so the question is like this: cos 3 pi plus pi by 4, right? So 3 pi, find out 3 pi, where 3 pi is. It is 0, it is pi, come up again, 2 pi, 3 pi. So this is 3 pi, and or you can directly go on it with it, right? So you can do it like this, or you just directly, if you know that, if you know it directly, so means at this time you try to solve it like this way, and after some practice you will directly know where the angles are. So 3 pi means here, so cos will remain as 3 pi and 3 pi will go on. If you are getting here, so you just leave it, means you are just going to get, you just remove 3 pi. Now 3 pi is of no use. Now if I am adding something, so I am going to get in third quadrant, right? In third quadrant, so this is how you have to do. First of all, you have to get up to 3 pi, and then you have to check whether I have to add or subtract. If you have to subtract, then just add and see, just adding where we are going to get, where we are going, right? So it is third quadrant. In third quadrant, now check the sign of this trigonometric function, right? So cos in third quadrant is negative. That is why you have to put this negative, but just only, and you have to put it as it is. So pi by 4. Now you know that the sign of the value of sine pi by 4, it is minus 1 upon root 2, and you know the sign of this also, 1 upon root 2. So this will be the answer. So this will be the value of sine 15 pi by 4, and this will be the value of cos 13 pi by 4. So this is how you have to do. We will do some more question and it will be clear. So next question is, so the next question is, suppose you have to find sine minus 55 pi by 3 pi. Okay, you have to find the value of this. And next you have to find sec 11 pi by 6. Next you have to find 10 minus 32, okay, 33 pi by 4. And the next is, let's say, cos minus 15 or not 15, 29 pi by 3. Right, so these are the means we have to calculate the values of this, right? So how you have to do. Now first of all, you need to know this, right? Sine minus theta is minus sine theta, cos minus theta is cos theta, and sec minus theta is also sec theta, and cos sec minus theta is minus cos sec theta, and tan minus theta is minus tan theta, and cot theta means cot minus theta is minus cot theta. You should know that, right? And if you don't know, so this is how you can remember it. And how we get it, how do we get it, right? Means how is it? So you look at the graph, right? If you negate the angle of cos theta, means theta, for cos and sec, you are going to get means if cos pi by 3 is positive, then cos minus pi by 3 is going to be also positive, right? So you can look at the graph and you can get it, right? So why it is happening. So but for all 4 trigonometric functions, negative sign just come out, right? So that is why. So this can be directly written as minus sine 55 pi by 3. Okay, so okay, now we have to find the nearest value of 55, which is exactly divisible by 3, which is 54. So I can write it like this: minus sine 54 pi plus pi upon 3, and I will separate them, and this is going to be, I guess, 18 pi plus pi by 3, right? And now try to find out where 18 pi will lie, because 0 pi, 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, all is over here. So 18 pi is also going to be here, right? So okay, so this is how you can think of. So this is 18 pi, and if I am adding something from here, of course you must have get 18 pi by moving this from this direction, right? So here it is 18 pi. If you add something, you are going to get in first quadrant, so this will lie in first quadrant. Now minus sine, right? If you have reached over here 18 pi, then you have to discard it. Now you don't have to consider this, right? And after adding plus pi by 3, you get that. So this minus is because of this, and in first quadrant sign is positive, right? So you don't have to put any sign, right? In the previous questions, what we have seen is if after adding the particular trigonometric function is going to be negative, then I have to put a negative sign over here, right? But I don't have to do this from over here. Why? Because after in first quadrant, because after adding pi by 3 in 18 pi, we are going to get in first quadrant, and in first quadrant sign is going to be positive. In fact, all trigonometric functions is positive. That is why I don't have to put any negative sign. This negative sign is because of this. Okay, so don't consider it. So it is directly 18 pi by means sine pi by 3. So the answer is sine pi by 3 is sine 60, which is root 3 by 2. So the answer is minus root 3 by 2. So it is a very important question in 1 marks. So they asked this in 1 marks type of question. Now this one. So sec 11 pi by 6. Okay, so again you have to do the same. Find the nearest value which is divisible by 6. So which is 12. So 12 pi minus pi upon 6. Now separate them. If you separate them, this is going to be 2 pi minus pi by 6. Right? So you can do this. Now again. So 0 is this and 2 pi is this as well, right? If you subtract something, you are going to get in fourth quadrant, right? Addition means go upside and that subtraction is go downward. So 2 pi minus 6 means, so sec, because of this 2 pi, it is going to be sec, and minus pi by 6, right? So pi, which quadrant it is? It is fourth quadrant, and it is in fourth quadrant, sec is going to be positive, so that is why it will remain as positive. So pi by 6, and what is sec pi by 6? There is root 3 by 2, 2 by root 3, right? So this is how you can do this. Now for the 10, Now again, because of this property, 10 minus sign will come out, so minus 10 33 pi by 4. Again, what you can do, just for simplicity, let's make it 31st, right? Means just to make the question a little bit interesting, so you can do it like this. Now this can be written as 32 pi minus pi by 4. So always remember that you have to split it in such a way that it is nearest to the number which is divisible. Means the nearest value to 31 which is divisible by 4 is 32. So now separate it. Then it is going to be 4i plus 8 pi minus pi by 4, right? So come up with 8 pi. So where 8 pi will be? It will be here, right? And now if you subtract something, you are going to get in fourth quadrant. And in fourth quadrant, okay, so in fourth quadrant, 10 is going to be negative, right? So 10 is going to be negative. So this negative is in the question, so it is of no meaning. But now, because of this, if I go till 8 pi and I subtract something, I am going to get in fourth quadrant. And in fourth quadrant, 10, this 10 is negative, so that 10, so that is why I will have a negative sign over here. So 10, this 8 pi till the time you reach 8 pi, it will goes on, right? So it is of no use now, and it is going to be pi by 4. So this will always remain. This will always, either it is plus or minus. Just this plus and minus has a significance of this, right? It is so based on which quadrant it is going on, I will get this minus. So this minus will cancel out, and the answer is going to be 1 only. Okay, so this is how you have to get it. Now this cos minus 29 pi by 6. So cos minus theta is cos theta. So negative sign doesn't affect cos. So it is going to be cos 29 pi by 3. Right. So the nearest value to 29 pi, which is divisible by 3, is 30. So cos 30 pi minus pi by 3. Now this can be written as cos 10 pi minus pi by 3. Now where is where 10 pi is? It is over here, right? So at 10 pi, or just okay, just leave it. Now here it is, and I subtract something, I am going to get in fourth quadrant. And in fourth quadrant, so how you have to write it? Cos, and because of 10 means just till the time we reach at 10 pi, so just forget it. Now after subtracting, I am going to get in fourth quadrant. In fourth quadrant, we know that cos is positive, so I have to just put a positive sign. So it is a better practice if you put the sign like this, right? So that means it is just a good practice. You will not then forget whether you have to put negative or positive sign. So if you get in fourth quadrant, so it is positive, and now just pi by 3. So cos pi by 3 is 1 by 2. So the answer is 1.2. So this is how you have to solve these questions. Okay. So some of the questions that I am going to give you, you have to solve it by your way. Okay. So let's say it is 15, or let's say it is 104 pi. It is going to be, let's say, 59 pi. Let's say this is going to be 5, 4, 6. This is going to be 9 pi. 9 pi by 8. And this is going to be 26 pi. So these all 4 questions you have to try by yourself. Okay, so this is how you can do this.